Ha 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 ha. Welcome everybody. This is episode 3 of Nerds Watch, where CJ and I break down the last season of Game of Thrones, episode per episode. So we just got done watching episode 4, of season 8, the last season, as I said. So last week we ended up on the high of them defeating the Night King, defeating the army of the dead. In this episode, I feel they brought us back down to earth a little bit as far as they killed it. Obviously, spoilers if you listen to this.
Yeah, spoilers out the ass.
They killed the dragon. They killed...
Which is actually funny, because that's where we thought we were in the first place.
Yeah.
Me and Abel totally thought they killed the dragon. Or there's only one left. That's kind of like where we started,
So they killed the dragon. They killed Missandei. With pretty big stakes, really. And then I guess what we're left to do in these last 2 episodes are we're going to determine the Game of Thrones will be decided as far as who is going to rule the Area Throne. But before we go into the future, let's look at the present. And what did you think of the episode, specifically coming off of The Longest Night?
I enjoyed it. It was really cool. It does a cool little dichotomy there at the very beginning where everyone's appropriately sad, but then towards the end they're appropriately celebratory, and that's pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
What's a range of emotions? Because we start the episode with them burning everybody. That's how they bury people. They don't bury. Yeah. Well, they do bury some people, but I guess those who have died.
It's like honorable to.
Yeah, like a Viking funeral.
Yeah.
So they burn them. They burn thousands, and then the dinner kind of starts somber, kind of them remembering it, and then once they make Gendry the Lord of Stormwatch, sorry, I'm still thinking Endgame. The party kind of livens up a little bit, and then he asks Arya to be his wife, and she's like,
"It's like, nah, dog.
I ain't a wife type.
Not really about that life." Yeah.
You can't make a killer to a housewife, bro. You can't do it.
Can you make a killer to a housewife? Poll question.
But
do we do that? Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. And I guess just to get Arya out of the way, because she was really on this episode for a couple scenes. After the dinner, the next day, we then see her going to King's Landing. Her and the Hound meet up.
She's got a list, bro.
Yeah, she has a list. We can't forget about the list. And she's walking to King's Landing, and
the Hound's got a list.
Huh?
So the Hound's got a list. There's only one name on it.
Yeah, it's. But what I saw on Twitter, the Clegane Bowl is gonna go between him and the
good.
Mountain.
I like that.
So yeah, they were both going down King's Road, and basically, what it's gonna come down to is Arya and what I'm assuming Cersei or the Mountain, because they're both on the list. Mm. But I don't think Arya takes the Mountain away from the Hound.
Probably not.
No, it can't. No. Like that is the most.
That's a cool. It's one of the. It's obviously it's not a major storyline, but it's one of the cooler sub storylines.
Yeah, one of the coolest subplots, and it's not only is it coolest, but it's the most telegraphed. Like you knew that the minute they brought him back to life, basically like he was at doorstep, you knew that his ultimate end game was to kill the Mountain.
Bro, both of these brothers have died and come back to life.
Yeah,
like presumably towards this end of. Yeah. Killing each other.
Well, and then as I was watching this episode, and we'll get to Jaime here in just a little bit, but I feel the Hound has also had a very, very interesting, probably only rivaled by Jaime's story arc.
Probably, yeah.
As far as like going complete 180, there was always little.
I wouldn't say
there was always little glimpses of that, like when he saves Sansa from being raped. What else? Even when they're dueling, you kind of see a little, So there's been here and there, but like now he's like full on like face.
Yeah, and it's hard. It was hard face. Even in the beginning, just because of how he is.
Yeah,
like he's the so lovable.
Funny,
like, yeah, they wouldn't make him funny if we were actually meant to hate him.
Yeah, in this scene in this episode when Gendry was looking for where's Arya. Dozens of people just died, and that's where your head is at. And Gendry's like, no, I just want to thank her. Of course you do, you little twat.
Thank her with your penis. Yep, that's what he's thinking.
So,
he's right.
Yeah, so I think the Mountain, I don't know if he dies at the hand. I think he has to. I think he dies by the hand of the Hound.
Yeah.
But the Hound,
you got to give that to the Hound. Because, dude, the Hound takes L after L. Like,
dude. Well, we were talking about how John takes L's. Like the Hound takes more L's.
Yeah, dude, the Hound takes some.
He has to
L's.
get one W.
I
one
hope
win,
so.
Yeah, but I don't think he ultimately makes it out. Like he's such a troubled character. There's no way I don't think he. There's nothing for him to do after he kills the mountain.
Right. Well, he says as much as himself. Yeah. There's only one thing that'll give him happiness, and we presume it's that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think he'll probably end up as one of those egret moments where he kills the Hound, but some little dude like takes him out with an arrow or something. Yeah. Something like that. But his mission will have been finished. He won't give a fuck.
Unless they decide that they don't want to. I mean, they don't want to give that to us as far as fans. I don't know. We'll see.
Nah, they will probably. The last few episodes are going to be some fan service. I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Just a guess. I could be wrong. But.
A guesstimate. All right. Let's see. What are my other notes? So John told Arya and Sansa, in Varys' this is the most play he's gotten all season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's appropriate.
It is very appropriate because there's a lot of back scheming, and we'll get to that too. But the reason I bring him up is he said how many people know about. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. So after the big feast,
there's certainly an elephant in the room.
Yeah,
man.
Danny comes to talk to John about that precise thing, and you think that they start kissing and stuff, and you think like, okay, they're gonna be okay with this. No, John's not really okay with it. So then ultimately he tells Bran to tell Sansa and Arya, so they now know. So that makes.
I wish we could have got that.
Yeah, that also. Reaction.
Yeah.
But I think they want you to think about it.
Yeah.
So then Sansa told Tyrion, who then Tyrion told Varys. Yeah. And so now
everyone's gonna know.
Yeah. So he said, that's when he asked Tyrion. He's like, "How many know?" And he's like, 8. And he's like, that's not a secret anymore. Like people,
that's information.
Yeah, it's information.
It became information
for sure. And and this is when he plays his part because when he aligns himself with Daenerys, he told her that if she was ever making a mistake, he's gonna look her right in the eyes and tell him that she's making a mistake. Well, he did that this episode, and she's like, no, I'm still gonna burn down King's Landing to the ground. So now he sees that as he's always seen himself as the protector of the realm, not a protector of the king or queen. Yeah. He's the protector of the realm. So now he sees the realm in danger.
He's a cool character in that way.
I do, yeah, I like that. But now there was a very intense scene between him and Tyrion as far as I protect the realm and I am going to see what's best for the realm, and that to me is Jon Snow. So I am now aligning myself with Jon Snow, whether he likes it or not, because he is the best of both houses as far as the Targaryen and the Snow and the Stark. Sorry,
Tyrion is the same way, I think, as he's down for the realm, but he thinks that's Daenerys, so that's gonna drive a pretty big stake between them, I think.
He's done a lot of mistakes, but this is the first one I
Tyrion?
Yeah. In its arc, like it's but I feel as though this is the one where I don't know if it's loyalty or if
I think he truly believes
for
it.
The best interest.
I think he truly believes it because he sees that she's beloved by everyone she's ever come into contact with, and so far that's true. I mean, not specific people, but like cities, and I mean she's the rescuer, she's the hero. So, and he sees that, and I think he takes it to heart, and I don't know. I think I like his idea. I think he's trying to have kind of the cake and eat it too.
About what
putting them together.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I think we're slowly starting to see what people are afraid of the Targaryens is the Mad King. Which everybody always references to.
Yeah,
she's becoming a little bit the Mad Queen.
Like a little bit.
She's willing to burn down, burn down the city.
You're right.
So.
I think they kind of I think you were saying she kind of went against Varys, but I think they kind of had it talked into it. I think this at the very end though, that's it's over now. Whatever diplomatic negotiations, so to speak, could have happened or totally out the window. She's pissed, obviously. That was, as we saw. There's gonna be some fires next episode.
Well, and that takes me back to the scene where she goes up to.
I think that was her listening, like sitting to not in that scene. Yeah, she did, I guess.
And that takes me back to as far as the way I see her trajectory now. Whenever she does go up to John's room and talks to him or tries to talk him out of telling Sansa and Arya, I don't know if that is political on her part or if that's more of feelings. It could be both. Because I feel like she was a little too forceful and selfish about it. You know, that's like, no, you know, I told you one way, you can, you know, we can keep us together or something like that. You know, and I think it was more politically motivated than I love John.
Yeah,
you know
probably.
what I mean. So
you're right. You can tell. I mean, but this has been her whole arc, really. So it's not surprising in any way, really. But you can tell her one main goal, and she's tunnel vision for the throne.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what she's been doing for 77 seasons or whatever. So.
And it is telling that, you know, what they say when they first told John, you were willing to lay down whatever it took to get her there. Well, and that's willing to do the same for you, and we get that answer.
That's been his whole story since he was at the Night's Watch. People wanted him to be the youngest, you know, Night Watch.
And he didn't want any of it.
He
they just keep thrusting more tiles on him.
That's what it is. He doesn't want any of it.
Well, we will save our projections, but I mean, I don't see any divergence. Put it that way.
In this episode, we finally see Bronn again from the first.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah. Well, the theme of this episode, I think, is like, remember, like, this guy's been this character for he always followed the money. That's all that is.
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
When he goes, that's why I think that he doesn't just kill them, because if he was guaranteed I forget which particular realm he was promised.
It's Highgarden.
No, that's the one that was promised if he doesn't kill.
Oh, Riverrun.
Is it Riverrun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was promised Riverrun by Cersei.
Right.
So I think that's why he didn't immediately just go and kill one of the Lannisters, because, like, let's see what they can do, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That does fit. I figured it'd be like, hey, what's up, bros? My sister told me, your sister told me to kill you. What are you going to do for me? Instead, he was like, motherfuckers, listen. I have a crossbow in your face. I will shoot you. I don't know. It's kind of... I didn't see him being that forceful, but...
No, I think that's on par for him as far... And especially because... anytime he does get something, like, the Lannisters always drag him back into something else. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
He was given a small castle, and then he was Jaime wanted him to fight with him, and then they were devastated by the dragons. You know.
He's probably been tired of this bullshit for
sure.
a few seasons now. That's probably true.
So he's a betting man. He said at the time they had 2 dragons, and they're thinking, okay, well, they have 2 dragons. You guys do have the bigger army, so on and so forth. So, you know, he's like, okay, I won't kill you, but what can you promise me? So we'll see how that plays out in the end. So
yeah,
maybe ultimately at the end it's more of a selfless act than a selfish act, but we'll see.
That would be a turn for him if it happens in a show filled with turns. We'll see. Because you're right, he's been the same. He's had the same arc. He never really diverges from that. So.
Yeah. What else did we get this episode? So we've got glimpses of Tyrion's drinking game where they try to guess your past or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're drinking, and Brienne's finally playing, and so Tyrion figures out that she's a virgin, that she's never slept with anybody, women or
we're all stunned.
Yeah, I know. So Jaime goes from Kingslayer to
brown
Giant
chicken,
Slayer.
brown cow. Yes.
So Jaime sleeps with Brienne, and which ultimately
giant vagina slayer.
So I think that does play to that dichotomy then, because like I do ultimately think he has feelings for her, but like, and I only caught some of the ending interviews or whatever, but one of the writers he's totally right. He is addicted to Cersei. So when he finds out that they're on their way to go kill her, like his first instinct is to go try to save her.
I think that's what they want you to think. I think Jaime. I could be wrong. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways this could play out. My first instinct was that he was going to kill Brienne and go to Jaime or go to Cersei. Thinking about it a little more, I'm wondering if that's not how they're playing it, pointing us in that direction for him to finally once and for all face Cersei and denounce her completely.
I think
There's a couple different ways they could go with that.
I think something like that could happen, and I think it plays with Euron. Something has to happen between them three.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, Jamie.
You're forgetting the 8-ball or the wild card and all the 8-ball the wild card and all this. Cersei's pregnant with his child. With Jamie's child, and we just found out this episode that the Maester, or he's not the Maester anymore, but the
we know you're talking about. The denounced Maester. Yeah,
that he basically is pushing this narrative to Euron that is his kid. Yeah. So,
which is not. That would be cool to see a fight between them two, Euron and Jamie.
That son of a bitch, he deserves it, man. So one of the big deaths we get this episode transition is Euron and his fleet shoot down one of the dragons.
Yeah.
They were so gracefully and masterfully flying the skies, and then just out of nowhere, just boof boof, and they had the one dragon. I forget the official name for it, but the big bow and arrow thing that we saw.
The Scorpion, I think.
Yeah, the Scorpion. They had just the one. Well, now they have them on top of the castles.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
They have them on each ship, so they killed him. And I was telling CJ while we were watching that it makes sense because if you go in there with 2 dragons and they don't have anything for defense, it does make it easy for them to win. So they do have to. They have to even they have to even it out. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that bastard has it coming, man. He's probably. Between him and Cersei, they're the two the least likable characters left.
Probably. Yeah. I'll probably agree with that.
In another transition, we have another big death. So basically, the two hands of the queens, they meet up and they're negotiating their terms. They both want
their unconditional surrender.
And then they'll let Cersei live, or if not, we're gonna kill Melisandre. And sure enough. And Tyrion gives this big speech. You're not a monster. You've always cared for your children. Oh, absolutely.
He's trying to play it up.
You've always cared for your children, whatever. And then, sure enough, right when he thinks that she's gonna give it up, nope. Fucking Mountain just slices her head, and she asks if she had any last words, and she says Jakara. So basically, burn it down.
Burn these motherfuckers down, yeah. And I kind of think she will.
Yeah.
It's heating up a little bit. There are very powerful, angry wills on each side. It's gonna be cool to watch them collide together. I'm really excited for this next episode. To be honest.
I am too. There's so many open end So now that the White Walker thread is over,
I think that's what they left us focusing on though. Just these two powerful women. They are fucking furious with each other
and then I was really high on the episode last week, and then after a week of thinking about it, I was like, it was climatic and anticlimactic at the same time. And then
you don't want a climax.
I know. And then CJ was like, as you were reiterating when you were telling me last week, I know that we want to end the story on these personal family feuds or whatever. After watching this episode, I like that episode as much as I did last week. So. Because I'd rather it end this way. You're absolutely
it's not. Yeah, it's not Game of White Walkers. Yeah, it's Game of Thrones. Yeah. It is always the White Walkers was a really badass thread, but that's all it was the thread. This is what the story is. It's about the throne. It's always been about the throne. It's just the White Walkers were a really cool underlying thing, and that's to me, getting rid of the White Walker storyline is like getting rid of the riffraff, but now it's just concentrated fuckery on King's Landing. I like that. That's cool. We're gonna see all these big egos coming, because the story feels incomplete without Cersei and Winterfell. You know what I mean? If that is the final battle, Cersei's not there. Euron, who's the big player now, he's not there. It feels incomplete. Now it feels like all the rest of the world is collapsing on King's Landing, and we're gonna have the showdown this series deserves. But a lot is going to happen between now and then, and a lot of people are going to die, and it's going to be way more meaningful than it would have been in just some dark, shadowy battle. But now it's going to be...
I guess you're right.
It's going to be a lot more fulfilling, I think, in the next couple episodes here.
So, on that thread, as far as ending on that, I now have one. I've changed my thoughts on a character because Jamie, I feel like you said they want us to think one way when
it could go either way. Honestly,
I honestly now think that Brienne kills him.
Maybe.
I think that
I predicted one of them would kill the other one. I thought Jamie would kill Brienne, or Brienne would kill Jamie.
But I think ultimately now, because I think if they really want,
it wouldn't surprise me.
If they really want to gut punch us, Jamie kills Brienne. But if you want more of a satisfying ending, well, I think you still get a little gut punched because you felt like there was something there.
But if he's going back to side with Cersei, then
yeah, for sure,
it's gonna feel. And are you really? When Jamie was about to die last season, whenever the dragons were coming down and just burnt the fuck out of everything, and he fell in the lake, and you genuinely thought Jamie was going to die. It was a weird mixture of emotions, because like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but at the same time, he's done a lot of fucked up shit, and all he did this time, right now, was remind us of all the fucked up shit he did, and why it would be great to have him dead. But it's gonna be weird.
I forget who was the cousin that he choked out. The cousin that was sleeping with Cersei?
No.
Oh.
No. It's okay. Whenever Robb Stark had him in prison, he had him in prison for like a long time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, to get out of being in prison, because he was like a lower tier Lannister, but they still captured him, and he choked him out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's done a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be, and Brienne has only been this true north of goodness, and honor and whatever. Her dying would be way more of a gut punch, but we're gonna be weirdly satisfied, I think, to see Jamie die. But at the same time, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be like a weird little mix, because it's like, damn, Jamie's dead. Like, we kind of like Jamie a little bit. It's gonna be weird, but I bet you it's gonna one of those two things is gonna happen.
I think so too. Well, and now transitioning again to some predictions as far as as we're going. Even though we made predictions for the Longest Night episode, and we never even checked on it.
Oh, we should though.
Yeah, we should. But going off of that, now where do we see ourselves coming? I guess the first thread that I want to hit up on. So we talked about Arya going down to King's Landing. We talked about she had her moment already, but do you think she gets another one and kills Cersei? Because ultimately, everybody she set out to kill on her list, for the most part, has died. Because the Hound was on her list. She basically, as far as she knew, killed him.
But she said she took him off. Because whenever she got to, whenever she was training, she admitted she had taken him off her list. So that still counts. Every person, Walder Frey, whatever that dude's, every single person except for, I believe, Cersei in the Mountain. Or is the Mountain?
Yeah, the Mountain's on there.
I think that's it, right? Cersei in the Mountain? It wouldn't, would it surprise you if she killed both of them? Well, okay, not the Mountain.
Yeah, it would really surprise me.
But Cersei, if she killed Cersei?
I
think I just want to see Tyrion do it. Like, I don't know. I think Tyrion's never had like a really big one of those.
He has. He killed his dad when he was on the shooter.
Yeah, you're right.
And he killed the prostitute.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
Shay.
Shay, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
That was a very satisfying episode too.
That was really good. Yeah. That's a good point. Maybe fair.
No, Dickless. They killed off all one Dickless.
Oh, maybe Grey Worm. That'd be cool. He's pissed off right now.
Dude, I forgot about that. That's
that's his wife.
That's another wild card. Is he? Yeah, man.
I don't know. A lot of people need to kill Cersei.
Well, and then him in the mountain, like he's gonna recognize that big motherfucker up there is the one that killed Cassandra, So
yeah, he's pissed. They're all pissed. Yeah. Everyone's pissed. This is awesome.
Well, that's what this episode was. Is just to piss everybody off and the viewers, included. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. It looks like just from the 10 seconds we got that it's gonna go down next week. But I think it has to go. If we have 2 episodes left, we have 2 episodes left. It's gonna have to start getting down next week. I think it's gonna be a 2-parter.
What do you mean?
As far as how it ends, like it ends on a cliffhanger, and then it gets answered, and then that last episode is going to be kind of like half the episode is going to be this is who sits on the Iron Throne, and then the other half is like an epilogue as far as like what happens and if they're going to set up any sequels or if it has a satisfying conclusion. That's how that ends. And I legit got goosebumps thinking about it right now because like we're at the end of
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, dude. So now I was listening to this podcast. It's called. Jeez, I listen to it all the time.
Edit it back in hilariously later.
No, Fat Man Beyond. It used to be called Fat Man on Batman, but they didn't want to get sued. And it's Kevin Smith and this writer, and his name is Mark Bernard. And he made a very good point as far as like something I didn't see before. 10 years of Marvel movies 11 years of Marvel movies came to an end this year. Game of Thrones is coming to an end this year, and Star Wars is coming to an end. As far as like the saga of Luke Skywalker, 3 of the biggest pop culture things of all time are going to come to an end this year, and just the gravity of like how big Game of Thrones is going to be for that last episode is going to be huge. It's going to be huge, and I'm so excited. I'm so ready.
Dude, Game of Thrones is keeping up with, like you said, Marvel movies. Yeah. And like we didn't make a podcast. Well, we did actually. I was gonna say we didn't make a podcast talk about Marvel movies, but we kind of did. Yeah. But we made Game of Thrones. Like it's keeping up. Like this is some heavy shit. And next week, you've made a great point just now. Next week's gonna hit hard on a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I think honestly, like there's
too much stuff to get out of the way. They still have a shitload of things left to happen. Next week's gonna punch us right in the dick. I bet.
Well, I think there was a lot of pushback for the episode last week as far as like, and there was from me initially a little bit, but now that I see this episode, now it totally makes sense why they didn't kill.
Dude, yeah, it's all concentrated now.
Yeah, so now it's, yeah, it's like I was saying, they kind of trimmed the fat a little bit. We got rid of the people that we know, and a lot of us probably were rooting for, excuse me, but now we got out of the way. Yeah. So like the Lady of Mormont is dead. Jorah is there. We don't have to worry about him. The guys from the Night Watch. That's that. You know, we're down to the core.
Tormund left.
Tormund's gone. Like well, actually, when him and Jon were bidding farewell to each other, he's like, "I guess this is farewell. You never know." So maybe they get the call that something's going on at King's Landing, and he takes the wildlings down to King's Landing.
Maybe. Which do you want my Game of Thrones prediction?
Yeah.
It'll be Jon at the end.
Think so?
Yeah, I do. You saw how pissed off Dany was at the end, obviously. Cersei and her are just going to tear each other apart. And who's on his way down? Right as about, it's going to happen. And, okay. This is, like...
The reluctant king is always, like...
Well, yes, that. Yeah. Do you know what that tells me?
What?
Okay. This is bad. Like, what's gonna happen? It's gonna happen. So if you don't want prediction, I'm not gonna understand why you wouldn't. Skip ahead or whatever. But I'm warning you right now. I'm not to make a prediction.
We've been so wrong on predictions and stuff.
That is really true, actually. So you could just tell us to fuck off. I don't know. Anyway, I could be totally wrong, but I think what's gonna end up happening, Cersei's gonna kill Dany before Jon gets there, and Dany's not even gonna be a thing anymore. And it's going to be all Jon. And Jon's going to win in the end.
I think either way you do it, as far as if
But like this thread of Dany versus Jon a little bit, it's not even going to matter. I don't think.
I think it does.
I think it's just toying with us for now. And I think Cersei's going to end it all. And we're going to fucking hate Cersei. We already do, but it's going to make Cersei irredeemable. She already is, I guess, but... It's gonna light a fire in Jon, is what I'm saying, and we're gonna find out he's a dragon, and he's the true Targaryen.
We're gonna have. I like that theory of yours. Because I thought too that we were gonna find something out in that last episode, where he was gonna be pushed into some fire or something.
Everything's gonna burn down. It's just gonna be Jon still left standing. Well, I mean, not literally.
Yeah, but literally as far as...
But potentially literally.
I think that something happens to him where people see him fall on fire, and then he just comes out... He's going to have to come out naked.
Dick swinging.
Yeah.
People just knocking people over.
His big old dragon dick. He just, like, uses his dick to pole up to the... And, like, I really like that idea. I hope it happens, and I think that's when people realize, like, he is the right.
But it's timed perfectly. He's what they say like a fortnight behind, and Danny and Cersei are gonna rip each other apart in that fortnight. And Jon's it's gonna be timed perfectly. He's gonna arrive, and it's gonna be all Jon. He's gonna clean up.
Because no matter who you can kill Jon again, or you can kill Danny. Either way, it's gonna suck because the story has concentrated on those two people. There's been subplots, and we've been keeping up with Tyrion and Jaime and Brienne and so forth. But ultimately, the two columns of this show are Danny and Jon. So
you're killing one.
You're gonna have to kill. And I think they did it on purpose. That they told him so early that you can start building that tension between them.
Mm-hmm. And it's working.
It is working. You feel that tension very, very much so. And like I said, when they were talking about it, you didn't know if it was politically motivated or emotionally motivated. Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. That's as it should be. That is the most interesting thread left as far as the Iron Throne, and it's basically a triangle now. Even though I don't think necessarily that. I don't think he's gonna win the game.
No, it will be like it's been this whole time. He will fall upward, like against his own will.
No, but where I was going with that is I don't think. Where was I going with that? As far as I still think though that there is going to be. I don't think he wins it, but I think Gendry shows up at the end somehow. That there's going to be a representative.
Something for the breathy.
Yeah, there's going to be a representative from each house who they think has a line to the throne. Whether that's Gendry, Daenerys, Jon, or Cersei. Those are the four left who think they have, or they might think they have a right to the throne. Whether that's Gendry or not, because I don't think he wants to. I think he is in there reluctantly. Jeez, I can't talk today.
I got you.
Yeah, and he's going to be in that situation somehow.
Okay, it's possible.
Yeah.
I thought, it was cool, interesting little move she pulled. I thought just to get him out of it, stop, nip it in the bud. Whatever thoughts you have about coming for me, stop it right now because you're a lord.
That plays two ways. Not only am I giving you the house that belongs to you because you're a Baratheon, but also now
you're getting the fuck out of my way.
And now you're loyal to me because I gave you something that you didn't even ever thought that would be yours. So she played that.
Pretty well.
Very well. And which is why I think when she went... this is like the fourth time I bring it up, but why when she went up to talk to Jon, it was very politically motivated. She was motivated by politics rather more than love. Because she ultimately wants to... Hell or high water, no matter who it is, she wants the throne. So I think she's willing to cross anybody's path to get to the Iron Throne. So
and as a viewer, who do you want up there? You want the cool, humble guy who I don't really want to...
Now you sound like Varys a lot because that's exactly his argument. Who do you want to be up there? The guy that's the war hero, the one that knows how to rule? Or do you want the one that I've heard 1,000 times before? Everybody that I ever helped, they talked about Destiny. Jon doesn't talk about Destiny, you know what I mean? So...
I was thinking about that, actually, weirdly. This totally has nothing to do with this, but Varys is the one who represents me the most, probably. Just my way of thinking.
Conniving, backstabbing? Or
no, I don't think... I don't consider him a conniver, but just whatever he does, he thinks about the good of the people, at whatever... I think I would be kind of like that. So it's interesting. It's just interesting to me that you said we thought the same, but it's true. Who do you really think suits... Because you even said it yourself, Dany is showing a tendency towards mad kinginess.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have anything to fear from Jon.
If at the end he does like the Michael Jackson in Thriller and he turns around and unless he do something like that, there's nothing in his persona that is. And you were talking.
It would be so weird.
Yeah, you can't end it like that.
No.
And that would be almost as bad as it being like, oh, it was all a dream.
Yeah. No, it's not gonna happen. Besides
Brienne, I think he's the only other character, and maybe Sam. Tarly, that they're true North good, So, unless there's a complete heel turn, then you'll see out of nowhere,
Which they're not going to do.
Yeah. I did hear a couple theories on the internet that said that he does something so vile.
Jon?
Yeah. As far as this, we as viewers see it why the fuck would you do that? But in the long run, it's what's best for the realm. Something like that.
I've seen that. Can you even picture him doing anything vile? Really? Not really.
I guess vile's not the best word to describe it as far as like unpopular.
Just
super
counterintuitive kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he's always had to do the unpopular thing.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But that's only unpopular for other characters in the show. His decisions have never been unpopular for us.
You're right.
Like he wouldn't do something
as the
omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Gee, I cannot talk today. I did a lot of yard work today. I'm tired. But as we know everything that's going on and everything. You're right. Like his decisions ultimately benefit us as the watcher because it's like, oh, he is the good guy, yeah. So everybody in the realm is like, what are you doing hanging out with the dragon girl? You're the king of the north.
What are you doing hanging out with the wildlings?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess you're right. Yeah, unless they pull something out of left field.
Which if they did that, it would go down in history as one of the worst fucking endings to a show ever. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like no, it'll be John. Yeah, I bet you. I mean, we've been wrong this whole time, a bunch of times on this and Marvel. So we don't have a great track record, but
and then just kind of wrapping this up, you're right as far as like the way they've been writing these characters this season. Because at the end of season 7, you could be on board with either Daenerys or Jon. You're more like, And then at the end of season 7, the way it ends is basically they hook up with only Bran and Sam knowing that he's actually a Targaryen. But when you see them together, it's like maybe this might work out and it's going to suck if one of them dies. Well, now they're writing the characters as far like you're kind of you're pushing back against Daenerys because it's like
you're being pushed toward Jon.
Yeah. Initially what she said is we're going to free the people from a tyrant, whatever. I don't want to burn down King's Landing. Like, that's what I don't want to do. That's exactly what she's going to go do. She's going to go burn down King's Landing. She's going to be a tyrant. So it's more of the same. So you're right. And why would you kill Jon to kill him again?
You wouldn't.
It's looking more and more like it's going to be Jon.
And I'm cool with that.
I am very cool with that. I would be cool... Arya turning down Gendry, I think, is going to play a bigger part than just that. Because even if she has... Maybe she's giving it the opportunity. Like, let's say they kill both Jon and...
She thinks she's going to die.
Yeah, I think she thinks she's on a one-way trip.
Yeah, for sure. She says as much.
But ultimately, I think her turning down that marriage proposal also shows that she's not wanting to be in charge. So if she's given the opportunity to rule, like, I think she turns it down real quick.
That's not her.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think odds are, unless they pull another fast one and like Cersei stays on. I don't think that.
That would be weird, wouldn't it?
That would be weird.
Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. I think as long as it wasn't the Night King, I think anybody really could be up for it.
It's certainly possible. That it could happen. Who knows? I don't know. I think a lot of people would be pissed. But a lot of people have been pissed this whole fucking time, so who knows? Man.
I mean, dude, they killed Ned Stark in the first game.
Yeah, they did.
That was more George R.R. Martin's doing, because that was still in the book.
I watched some YouTube videos with him, some interviews and stuff. George R.R. Martin, and he had some cool explanations for why he does. They're like, "Why do you love killing your characters?" He's like, "I guess he listened to a lot of war stories, and something that stuck out to him is just." The hero's always supposed to live. No, heroes die in war all the time. Yeah, and it's just an interesting way to bring that about in his books.
All right,
kudos to that guy.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how he ends it too.
But would it really be that surprising that he pulls off one last major surprise? You know what I mean?
Well, he's not. He doesn't have anything to do with the writing in the last.
He told them how it ends, and they're ending it the way
that he ends it. Really. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. I thought maybe we'd get two different endings.
I don't think. Well, I mean,
maybe
obviously,
two different
different
journeys.
Right.
Okay, all right.
But that was the whole thing. A few seasons ago, they made a big deal out of it. They had a meeting. He told them exactly how his books ends. His books end, and apparently they're supposed to play off that. So
we'll see. Maybe they ultimately get the same result. Mm-hmm. But not the journey there, So, okay, I'm done with that. So, but we're running long. These usually are like 20, 30. So, but that was our breakdown of the last step. I don't even know what it was called, but episode 4 of the last season of Game of Thrones. This will be on the same feed as always as all our regular shows. And actually, we did this kind of reverse that we usually do.
Tell us your predictions.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, give us your predictions if you hear this on our Facebook, on our Twitter. Follow us there. Donate on Patreon. Donate on our Patreon or our. Jeez, I am out of it. Patreon or PayPal.
Abel's ready for a nap.
Yeah, dude, I'm so ready for bed. Do one of those, or just give us a shout out on Twitter, Facebook. Let us know what you think is going to happen on Game of Thrones, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the last 2 episodes. So keep an eye out for the regular show. We're going to do that tomorrow. I don't think CJ's going to be able to do that, but Barker might come over. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But let us know what you think, and that is it for that. What is it?
Game of Thrones.
No, I know.
That's the end of our.
That's the end of our watch. Nerd Watch. All right, we'll see you guys for next episode.
Wow,
Bye.
that was bad.